ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 So, स य एषो अणिमा ऐतदात्म्यम् ऐतदात्म्यगम् इदं सर्वं तत्सत् स आत्मा तत्त्वमसि श्वेतकेतो. By this time, this refrain is memorized. you know, Everything else we can forget, but we cannot forget this because this is so many times it has come. And when Pujya Swamiji used to teach this, each time he would explain this whole thing about Aitadatmyagam idam sarvam very, very, in a very, very dynamic way, extremely, present and uh, new each time. Very, very beautiful. And then, so certain things stick in the mind. And one of the things that I am made aware is that this repetition, which in the technical language is called abhyasa. This is an important part of the teaching. This doesn't have what is called punarukti dosha or the fallacy of redundancy. There is no redundancy. And because here in the course of the teaching, it is important to repeat because that's how one understands. And why is the repetition needed for understanding? Because half the time the mind is wandering here and there, and the other half the time sleeping. And then, in Vedanta, as I told you, the best sleep comes in Vedanta classes. And that is Lord Krishna's blessing. I have narrated the story here. Why in Vedanta class only sleep comes. And then, so sleep, those are only two things that happen. So there is laya. Laya means sleep, or there is vikshepa, distraction. Laya and vikshepa are, are the two forms of problems in any kind of a focus, whether it's focusing on the class, which is like a kind of a meditation, or whether it is focusing on oneself. Both laya and vikshepa are there. And so therefore this the vipsa or the abhyasa, same thing. The abhyasa is to make sure that this is driven home. What is that? Aitadatmyam idam sarvam. All that is here, whatever you say, you refer to by the word etat, 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 it is all you. This is you. In the beginning, we separate. You whatever you refer to by the word this is anatma, you are atma. But now this is a graduate course in bhashya means, and so therefore there is that oneness here, and this is what is called aitadatmya, aitadatmyam. And then there is no, why? Because everything that is available here is available for, by the word this exists, this is asti iti upalabhyate, asti iti upalabhyate, it comes to you as asti, not as nasti. There is no such thing as nasti in the entire universe. Why? Because the person who says this is nasti, na asti, is very much asti. Yes, asti ever. So that person cannot ever be denied. And that person can only be affirmed, can never be denied. And so therefore there is only asti. And there is no is not, meaning there is no such thing called jnana abhava. Abhava is not there, jnana abhava is not there. And so therefore, this is in keeping with the Paninian grammar. Panini was a great Vedantin, and so the way he has characterized the grammar shows his knowledge of Vedanta. The first conjugation, first root verb to be discussed is bhu, sattayam, in the sense of existence, because there everything exists. That's the basis for everything. Because it exists, then only we can talk about it. Then only we can say what the existence is like, what is its nature, what is its form, what is its color, etc. Then only all the other discussions of nama rupa come in. But first it exists. Because he could have started, I mean, even if he wanted to start with the first conjugation, he could have started with vati, and so many other things are there in the first conjugation. Yesterday we did a revision of all the first conjugation, root verbs. We had a little quiz. And so many things are there, gachati, like that. But no, it's not, none of the movement verbs are used. In the first conjugation, there are lots of movement words, goes, flows, sarati, and then vahati, sarati, and all these things are there, Dravati, all these things, flows and goes, everything. But that movement, all the root verbs talking about movement, are centered on that alone which doesn't move, which simply is. Bhu, Sattayam. As dhatu is also there, asti. But the asti is more of a static asti. Bhu has the sense of becoming. Brahmavit brahmaiva bhavati. Very interesting. The knower of Brahman, as it were, that's why we have our hands permanently in quotation marks, becomes, as it were, Brahman. So therefore, what? So then, this, Bhu is a dynamic root, which is a nod to the Bhagavan as Srishtikarta, Bhagavan and Bhagavati, Maya Shakti. It's a nod to Maya Shakti, the creative force of Bhagavan. When you say Bhavati, just like we can say Mrid, Mrid Asti, Ghataha Bhavati. Very interesting. So clay is, and then pot comes into being. So this being, because of which everything comes to being, and it itself never comes to being or never goes out of being, that is what is called asti. That is what is called aitadatmya, aitadatmyam. This is what it is. And then, because this, just like the ghata has come out of the mrit. What is ghata? Pot. Mrit, clay. So just like the pot has come out of the clay without the clay undergoing any change, so too this Brahma swarupa aparityagena, there is an as though rupantara pattihi. Swaswarupa, Swarupa Aparityagena, meaning without giving up its Satchidanandatvam, without giving up its nature, without giving up its anything, its being, without giving up its limitlessness, its sentiency, and its existence. It as though changes forms and names while being itself. So, in other words, Brahman is what is manifest as the Jagat without undergoing any change at all. This is what is understood by the root bhu, and that is why the grammar, when you start the study of the grammar, bhu, sattayam, in the sense of sat, existence, that's how he defines it. It's just so beautiful. It's just mind boggling how his mind worked. And if you study the story of Panini, it was not that he had some kind of a big IQ and all these things. In fact, people made fun of this boy in the Gurukula. Jada buddhi, jada buddhi, jada buddhi. Meaning your buddhi is like the stump of a tree or a rock buddhi. And then, the Acharya's wife, one day found him sitting under a tree and crying. And she said to him, "What happened?" And boy Panini said, you know, nothing is going in. All the students, all the other children are making fun of me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. It's all gone. And then the Acharya Patni, the wife of the Acharya, blessed him, and she said to him, "Keep studying. You may not see the greatness in you. I see the greatness in you." She believed in him, and great were her words. Must have been a great lady. And then we have this thing. I mean, what a mind! It's just amazing. And so everything asti is asti. And because it is asti, then only it gachati, then only it sarati, then only it agachati, it comes back, pratigachati, you know, then only it can do all kinds of things. So, so therefore it is bhu. First one is satta. Because of this satta alone, the vyavahara of grammar, whole act, verbs means what? Action. So the whole world of action comes from existence. An existence that has not undergone any change whatsoever in order to quote unquote become, as it were, the actor. And as though actor, and as though doer, and as though goer, as though thinker, as though seer, as though hearer. And the trich at the end, what is this trich? Trich is the suffix agent noun, that which makes the er, agent noun. Netru, that tr is from this suffix called trich. Netru, ne to take, it takes guna, it becomes ne, and then ne plus tr, netru. Then you have the declension, neta, netarau, netarah. So that neta, there is a trich there, there is a er there. In Sanskrit, we call it tr, not er, through, and so then this er we think is the suffix. This is how grammar goes into the head. Oh, these are various suffixes, and tr is one more suffix. And in English, it is er. Here, hearer. See, seer. Greet, greeter. And then, what is this? What is this er? When we look deeply into the er, it is not a suffix. It is that which doesn't need to be fixed up. It is the substantive. Hearing comes and goes, er is constant. Seeing comes and goes, er is constant. Sleeping comes and goes, er is constant. Waking comes and goes, er is constant. Dreaming comes and goes, er is constant. This er is Atma, Sadatma, that is you, which never goes away. Because it is constant, all the other things can come and go. So there is no Nasti. But what about when you say There is no flower in the palm of my hand. Of course, there is nasti. It is not there. We are saying this. Well, it is a relative nasti which is able to be cognized because of the absolute asti, which is you. Because aham asmi, therefore I can say flower nasti, but and it's a relative absence of the flower. Therefore, how relative absence of what flower? Where? In the palm of my hand. When? Now. It's a relative. It's time bound. The absence of the flower is time bound and space place bound, object bound. It is not here right now, time bound. It is not here, place bound. Here means palm of the hand. And object bound, what is not here? Flower. So that means what? So, it is understood through a means of knowledge, which we have discussed before, anupalabdhi. Anupalabdhya upalabhyate. And therefore it is pramana sadhya, meaning it is understood through a pramana. Therefore there is pramatru, another tru, you know, nowhere, which is the operator of the pramana is very much there. So there is no non-existence. No non-existence. That's why we say that this is a great subject matter for contemplation. Try getting away from asti. Try getting away from everything, from Brahman, and see how far you go. No, I'll run away to the ends of the earth. Ends of the earth, Brahman. I think I'll go under the covers. Under the covers, Brahman. I'll go outside. Outside, Brahman. I'll go inside. Inside, Brahman. I'll climb the wall out of frustration. The wall is Brahman. Climbing is Brahman. Climber is Brahman. So, what are you going to do? No way to get out of this. And so, therefore, he. This is exactly how there is such a nice dovetailing between the sampradaya and the grammar. It is just very, very so beautiful. Absolutely wonderful, mind-boggling. And let's see what happened to my bhashya. It is here, my copy of the bhashya. Except I was reading Brihadaranyaka bhashya, and that is what is coming. Where is this bhashya? Let us see. That is not it. Hold on. It's gone away somewhere briefly. So let us see. Give me 1 second. So the question now that we are reconstructing is this. What are we reconstructing? We are reconstructing the why did Shvetaketu ask this particular question? And what is this particular question? Bhuya eva Bhagavan Vijnapayatu. Please teach me this all over again, along with a drishtanta, an example. And so, what was the reason for this doubt? And what was the reason for this doubt? The Acharyavan Vidwan येन क्रमेण सत् संपद्यते तं क्रमं दृष्टान्तेन भूय एव मा भगवान् विज्ञापयतु इति. So Acharyavan Vidwan. So the Vidwan who is Acharyavan. So the Vidwan means the person of self knowledge. And how did he or she get that way? He or she got that way primarily because of the presence of the Acharya. having been taught by the acharya alone, the person got that way. And then so what? So then what happens to this acharyavan vidwan? Meaning, how does the acharyavan vidwan, the person who is endowed with the knowledge due to having an acharya, how does the person gain this sat? That is the question, which is resurrected by the sampradaya. So saya ityadi uktartham, saya esho anima ityadi uktartham. Bhashakara doesn't gloss over anything. He says, this has already been explained. Please see my earlier explanation of this. So Acharyavan Vidwan. So now we have a person who is Acharyavan Purushaha Saha Veda. So that person knows. What do they know? They know that Sat alone is the Atma, Aitadatmyam Idam Sarvam. They know. And Yena Kramena, by which krama means by which method and by which order Sat Sampadyate. How do they gain this Sat? Tam Kramam. Please relate that order clearly with the help of an example. And then, so the example is now going to be given in the 14th section. No, 15th section. 14th we have just completed. So now the bhashya, the first mantra, Purushagam Somya,
पुरुषगं सौम्य
Uta,
उत
Upatapinam,
उपतापिनं
Jnatayah,
ज्ञातयः
Paryupasate,
पर्युपासते
Janasi mam iti,
जानासि माम् इति
Tasya,
तस्य
Tavat,
यावत्
न वाङ् मनसि सम्पद्यते
न वाङ्मनसि सम्पद्यते
मनः प्राणे
मनः प्राणे
प्राणस्तेजसि
प्राणस्तेजसि
तेजः परस्यां देवतायां
तेजः परस्यां देवतायां
तावज्जानाति.
तावज्जानाति.
We have seen this earlier. And why is it being repeated? Because to show a very, very important point, that the process of death is not different for the Vidwan or the Avidwan. Death is the same for both. It's not that when the person of knowledge dies or drops the body, that dehapata occurs. It's not that there is some other thing happening and there is some bells and whistles and all these things. All that is not there. It is the same process. Same process. No different process. Because we are not talking of the Vidwan. We are talking of the body of the Vidwan, which is inert. We are talking of the mind of the Vidwan. We are talking of the senses. We are talking of everything that is inert here, which is mithya. And so the process in which all these resolve and quote unquote go back to Sat, so to speak, is not any different for the Vidwan or the Avidwan. And so here, this is what is being talked about. That's why we can go over this quickly because we have already seen this. And so we'll go straight to the bhashya. This thing, because this first mantra of the 15th section will become very clear. Purusham he somya
पुरुषं हे सौम्य
uta
उत
upatapinam
उपतापिनं
jvaradi
ज्वरादि
upatapavantam
उपतापवन्तं
ज्ञातयः
ज्ञातयः
बान्धवाः
बान्धवाः
परिवार्य उपासते
परिवार्य उपासते
मुमुर्षुम्
मुमुर्षुं
जानासि माम्
जानासि मां
तव पितरम्
तव पितरं
पुत्रम्
पुत्रं
भ्रातरं वा
भ्रातरं वा
इति पृच्छन्तः
इति पृच्छन्तः
तस्य
तस्य
मुमूर्षोः
मुमुक्षोः
यावत्
यावत्
न वाक् मनसि सम्पद्यते
न वाक् मनसि सम्पद्यते
मनः प्राणे
मनः प्राणे
प्राणस्तेजसि
प्राणस्तेजसि
तेजः परस्यां देवतायाम्
तेजः परस्यां देवतायाम्
एतत् उक्तार्थम्.
इति एतत् उक्तार्थम्
Yeah, very nice, So, same thing. We have seen this earlier. The process of death. It is not any different for the Vidwan. So, Purusham, and who is this Purusham? Mumurshum Purusham. Mumurshu is a very interesting word, not Mumukshu. That's different. Mumurshu Martum Ichuhu. So the one, not, we can't, we cannot take a totally desiderative meaning here, like the one who is wishing to die, meaning the one who is getting ready to die. Like that we have to take it, because nobody is wishing to die here, the one who is getting ready to die. And so that is the mumurshu here. So this purusham, mumurshum, what happens, and who is this person? Who is this mumurshu? How do you know that such a person is a mumurshu getting ready to die? Jvaradi upatapavantam. Upatapavantam is burning, burning with some kind of an affliction, such as a high fever, trembling, and all kinds of things. When you see that the person is ready to pack up and is not available there, and so so what? So jvaradi upatapavantam, and the Jnatayah means relatives, cousins, family members. Then parivarya, surrounding. Parivarya, upasate. Upasate means, usually we take it as worship, in Bhagavad Gita. Especially 12th chapter, all these upasate, we take it as worship. Here it's not to be taken as worship. Contextually, it has a different meaning. What does it mean? They are, upasate means sevam kurvanti. They are doing seva to the person, who is getting ready to die, meaning making the whole process of leaving comfortable. Somebody is fluffing up a pillow and propping it behind the back because they can see that the person is having disturbed breathing. Somebody else is massaging some oil on the feet. Somebody else is holding the hand. Somebody else is stroking the fingers and saying everything will be okay. Somebody else is studying, what is that? Chanting the Bhagavad Gita or Vishnu Sahasranama, something like this. So this is what is called the upasana here, means they are doing dedicated seva to the person, and they are very, very concerned. So they are concerned, and so they keep asking, Janasima, do you know me? I'm the daddy, I'm your brother, I'm your cousin, I'm your, I'm your child. All these things they ask. And then what happens? Tasya mumurshoho. For that dying person, yavat means until that time, navak, this na should be taken before sampadyate. Okay, the negation. Yeah. So yavat vak manasi na sampadyate, until which time the mind does not the speech does not resolve in the mind, and the mind does not resolve unto the prana, and we have seen all this, and the prana does not resolve unto what, the fire element, which controls the prana. And then the fire element is not an independent dealer here, and the fire element is also is outsourced, is a devata that is outsourced by what? Paradevata, this sat, which is paradevata. And then until that resolution doesn't take place, then what happens? Then until then the person, janati, until then the person, even though they may not be able to talk, they will nod their head, they say, yes, yes, I know who you are, I know who you are, not very fond of you, but still I know who you are. All these things they will be thinking and expressing. Okay. And then he then the next mantra comes, and we'll see there is one segue here, we'll see that later. Okay. So atha
अथ
यदा अस्य
यदा अस्य
वाङ् मनसि सम्पद्यते
वाङ्मनसि सम्पद्यते
मनः प्राणे
मनः प्राणे
प्राणस्तेजसि
प्राणस्तेजसि
तेजः परस्यां देवतायाम्
तेजः परस्यां देवतायाम्
अथ न जानाति.
अथ न जानाति.
So the person ceases to know anyone, ceases to be in touch with the surroundings, with the immediate surroundings, ceases to enjoy the foot massage and the head massage and the pillows being propped up. Nothing is making a difference. There is a kind of a withdrawal happening, and the withdrawal has a certain order. And this is the order that Shvetaketu wanted to know. Is it the same order for the samsari and for the jnani? And making this into a segue, the Adi Shankara, the Bhashya says here, samsarinah yo maranakramah saha evayam vidusho api sat sampatti kramaha. Beautiful segue. So for the for the samsari, yaha maranakramaha, whatever is the process of leaving the body, whatever is there, the process of leaving the body, whatever is there, saha, that alone eva ayam vidushaha api. That same thing is there, that same order is there for the vidushaha. Vidusha means the learned person, also the one who is no longer ignorant of the self. For that person also the same order of the body, packing up slowly. So the prarabdha suitcase is packing itself up, and then it is getting ready to go. Very interestingly, for the samsari, the word that is used by Bhashyakara is maranakramaha, the process of dying. And for the jnani, the word that is used is sat sampatti kramaha. Krama is common, but for the samsari, it is marana kramaha. Why? You know, जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युः ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च. This is apariharya, meaning this is, this is the law of life, that for that which is born death is certain, and for that which is died birth is certain, until this knowledge is gained, right? And so for the samsari, it is maranakrama, the process of dying. Dying to what? Dying to this particular world, going to other lokas, enjoying a little bit of chai with Indra and something else somewhere, saying hi to Brahmaji, and sitting in the concert with Urvashi, Rambha, and all the nymphs and everything, and enjoying their celestial music, with the live accompaniment of yakshas, kinnaras, gandharvas. These are all devatas, lower rung celestials who are who are very good at music. Okay. And so all this is maranakrama, because there is this is all just a little, what should I say, jiva's day out. That's all it is. And so jiva's day out, and then you come back. When do you come back? After you have expended the travel currency called punya. So now, if you go to, what is that place? Not so Great Britain. Then what do you need there? you you need now you need pounds, because out of this whole euro system. And then if you go to Europe, you need euros. If you go to America, you need dollars. And then if you want to go to heaven, etc., other lokas, you need punya. That is the currency. Yes. But how much punya do I have? Who knows? Only Chitragupta knows. Chitragupta holds the purse strings. You just go and enjoy. Don't worry about the bills. I'll take care of the bills. And then what? And then Kshine Punye martyalokam vishanti. And then the punya is gone and you have no, so sad, this is so sad, really, you have no this, the advance notification, nothing. At least when you go on a holiday, you have booked the hotel for 2 weeks or 1 week, you have booked a cruise, and you're going and doing all these things. But here you don't know. Do I have 2 weeks? Chitragupta just shrugs the shoulders. Don't know. And do I have at least 1 week? Don't know. Nothing. So you are really supposed to be in the moment and enjoy everything. And then suddenly, then suddenly you are coming, you are in the, what should I say, the incubation chamber. And then you are starting another life, supposedly. Another packed, prarabdha suitcase has already there, has already been sent to the destination. And then first there are baby karmas, and then there are adolescent karmas, and then there are grown up karmas. This is the krama, this is the marana krama of the samsari. But for the vidusha, for the vidwan, what happens, there is what is called sat sampatti krama. Meaning, this sat, having gained this sat, there is no return, one way ticket. Okay, one way ticket, no return. Why? Because there is nothing to return. What will return? Tell me. What will return? Because the return flight is not there. No flight. Oh, is there a pandemic? Omicron? Only Om. Okay, yeah. Only Om is there. That's all. So there is nothing to return, there is no I to return. Okay, and then what will bring the I back? The big burden of self ignorance. So there is no self ignorance to come back to. Self ignorance is the fuel. So there is no self ignorance. Okay, so no possibility of return. And self ignorance gives, what is that called, desires. So desires are not there, so therefore no return. Desires are not there, self ignorance is not there. And the desires, give certain ideas. I want to do this, I want to go here, I want to go there, wanderlust, etc. That is also not there. So who will return this? The one who doesn't have an I notion, the one who doesn't have any sense of anything, the separateness from it all, the one who, most importantly, doesn't have any agenda. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it says this very, very, very clearly. Atmanan ched vijaniyat. The one who knows the I, Atma. Ayamasmi iti purushaha. Meaning this Brahman I am. Then, tat, with this knowledge, uh, kimartham, for what purpose? Kasya kamaya, for what kind of to fulfill what kind of desire? Shariram anusanjvaret, will get into a frenzied, feverish, strife to enter another body. What for? No reason. So it's for the vidwan, it is a sat sampatti. So sampatti again, meaning the gain of the sat is within inverted commas, within apostrophes, because while living, the jnani was one with sat, and so therefore there is no question of gaining sat. But we say gaining sat just because there is, because we can put this, because it's an as though gain. The body has been dropped, so there is a gain of an as though gain. So vidushaha api sat sampatti kramaha. So the process of leaving the body is the same, you know. And then, so the bhashya for this mantra, parasyam devatayam
परस्यां देवतायां
तेजसि संपन्ने
तेजसि संपन्ने
अथ न जानाति
अथ न जानाति
अविद्वांस्तु
अविद्वांस्तु
सतः उत्थाय
सतः उत्थाय
प्राग्भावितं
प्राग्भावितं
व्याघ्रादिभावं
व्याघ्रादिभावं
देवमनुष्यादिभावं वा
देवमनुष्यादिभावं वा
विशति
विशति
विद्वांस्तु
विद्वांस्तु
शास्त्र
शास्त्र
आचार्य
आचार्य
उपदेशजनित
उपदेशजनित
ज्ञानदीप
ज्ञानदीप
प्रकाशितं
प्रकाशितं
तद्ब्रह्मात्मानं प्रविश्य
सद्ब्रह्मात्मानं प्रविश्य
न आवर्तते
न आवर्तते
इत्येषः
इत्येषः
तत्सम्पत्तिक्रमः.
सत्सम्पत्तिक्रमः.
ब्यूटिफुल. So, parasyam devatayam tejasi sampanne ath na janati. So, at some point, the dying person, may it be a vidwan or a vidwan, having, having gained the, having gained this, all the senses have folded up, packed up, and the senses have gone to the, and folded up into the mind is gone into tejas, and the tejas has folded up into parasyan, paradevata, sat, called sat. Therefore that withdrawal is more and more. So the people may be shaking the person, do you know me, do you know me? No response. Up till now, the process is the same for Vidwan and Avidwan. Now there is a divergence. What happens? Avidvamstu, the one who is not a Vidwan, what happens? Sataha Utthaya, having got up from the Sat. They both reach Sat. Okay. The Avidwan is eager to get out of the Sat. Why? Because the avidwan is the one who does not know the nature of the self. And the avidwan is the one that is always in circulation like a bad coin, can never get rid of this jiva, comes back after sleep regularly, is ready for coffee, and then comes back after death. Okay, comes back even after dissolution of the whole universe. Yeah, the karma is very patient. It keeps itself in the, and the jiva is, also very patient. The karmas are kept in abeyance, and then what happens is that so it's all in an unmanifest condition, and even although sat sampatti is there for the avidwan gets up as though from the avyakta, from the unmanifest condition, and then assumes another body in keeping with the kama karma, and ajnana kama karma shrinkhala, the endless chain. Okay. And then but the vidwan doesn't come back. But the sat sampatti krama is the same. There is no difference. And same thing happens for the vidwan also. Speech resolves into the mind. The person loses speech, then the blood pressure falls. And when the blood pressure is a big drop, there is no question of talking. You can't talk. You don't have, you want to talk, but the lips don't cooperate, the hands don't cooperate, nothing cooperates. The first to go is the speech. And then, so then the mind joins the prana, prana joins tejas, tejas joins sat. This is the krama. This is what it is. And don't look for this is this scientific, etc. Don't worry about that right now. This is just how it is. This is shruti. Okay. And then all we need to know is karyam karane liyate. That is the main thing to note, that the karya, that which is called the effect, resolves into the cause, subsequently resolves into the cause in succession. This is the krama. you know so then when the tejas resolves into the sadvastu, the person who is getting ready to die doesn't know at all. But the avidwan is eager to get out of sat because the karmas are jumping like fleas, okay, not sitting still even for a second. And then you know, so then the karmas and the desires are jumping, and then so the avidwan getting out of sat, satah utthaya. What does the avidwan do? The jiva, gains all these. There was a very nice word used here. What was that? Uh, yeah, pragbhavitam. Pragbhavitam, very nice. Pragbhavitam means that which had been already before the thing was set up because of desire, etc. Pragbhavitam. And so, getting out of Sat, the Avidwan gets ready to assume various bodies earned through karma. So Bhashyakara, in the typical Upanishad fashion, gives the bad news first. Vyagro va, simho va, varaho va, tiryak bhava. Tiryak means things that grow sideways. Okay? Animals grow like this, they don't grow like this. Yeah. And so things that grow sideways, creepers and all these things. So biting things and running things and terrifying things, all these things. And then after that, Bhashyakara is optimistic and gives people a chance. Manushya devadi shariram. So it is possible that there was some desire for Vedanta. So in the next life, the person comes back as a human being. Why be pessimistic and say, Vyagro va, Simho va, Varaho va, Kito va, you know, Damshako va, all this. Why say that? So therefore, we can say that perhaps there will be a Manushya. The Bhagavad Gita says, Ayatihi Shraddhayopetah Yogat Chalitamanasah Kangatin Tata Gachati Chinnabhramiva Nashyati Kim. So, what happens? Arjuna is eager to know for himself and thankfully for everyone. He's done a great favor to the whole universe by asking this question at the end of the sixth chapter. Here is a hypothetical situation. It's just like in India, people, they go to the doctor, or they find out, they go for somebody's house for tea. They find out there is a doctor, and then they are, dying to consult a doctor, but they don't want in front of the company to say, what it is that they have. So they say, oh, my friend, has this ailment. What would you do if somebody had this ailment? Oh, you have this? No, 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 not me. My friend, my very good friend, he is suffering a lot. So can you just suggest something? And so, like this, Arjuna asks, what if there was somebody, Ayatihi means here the nanj, abhavarthe, meaning in the sense of less, alparthe, sorry, not abhavarthe, in the sense of less. Alparthe nanj. So the negation doesn't mean it's not there at all. So ayatihi means the effort is there. The person is doing yatna, but not enough effort. Yeah. So the person is a drop in Vedantin, let us say, So kabhi kabhi, once in a while. And but then the person has the heart full of Shraddha, loves to study, but doesn't, somehow is not, that interest doesn't come, and the desire keeps coming and going once in a while. Agama Payi is the desire, and then so more of an Agama Payin than a Vedantin. So, what will happen to that person? Few classes of Bhashya were attended, the rest of the time didn't attend. And so, what will happen to such a person? Kangatim tata, gachati. What will happen to such a person? Chinna abhramiva nashyati kim. Everything the person understood the few Sanskrit classes that were attended, and the few Gita classes that were attended, the few Bhashya classes that were attended. What will happen to all that? Will it all just go like the fog? When the sunlight comes, the fog disappears. Will it happen like that? No, 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 no. Bhagavan Krishna assures the person, you know, शुचीनां श्रीमतां गेहे योगभ्रष्टः अभिजायते अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम्. So the person who is yoga bhrashtha. Bhrashtha means, yoga means here the way of life here. Karma yoga, jnana yoga, etc. This is this knowledge. The one who is bhrashtha means the one who has slipped, the one who has had some chuti, a certain slippage from this, from this path. What will happen? They will definitely be born in a household where there is a lot of good things happening, meaning other people allow them to study, and they don't have to take care of things. They get away without needing to take care of things. They even get away without needing to earn a living. Lucky. Yeah, this is what is the it's not luck, it is the purva punya. Paunaf punyena shravanam kuryat, it is said like this. So it is purva punya, which we call lucky and luck. So, what is this luck? The luck is that one is not saying cluck cluck, one is in a human body. That is the big luck first. And not just in a human body, one is in a body that is appropriate. Appropriate family, appropriate parentage, appropriate way of everything. And then so the person can pursue this knowledge without any hindrances. Doesn't have to keep on explaining. Where are you going? Vedanta class. What is Vedanta? Shvedanta. Well, I'm learning how I am all that is required in order to be happy. Well, you seem very depressed around me, so I don't know what you're learning. This is, you don't have to listen to all this. So this is what it is. And then the person picks up the thread from the last life. Oh, so will I remember Ramaha, Rama, Ramaha? Well, let's not go that far. Okay, so maybe you won't remember Ramaha, Rama, Ramaha, but when Ramaha, Rama, Ramaha is recited, some arthaspuranam takes place, and you have what is called in French a deja vu. You have a deja vu. I think I've heard this before. And when Mundakopanishad is taught, I think I've heard this before. Something is familiar, you know, something is there. Somewhere I've heard this before. And then because the desire is there, one becomes, a sponge, sponge just for Vedanta. And one just soaks up the Shruti, and then one makes great progress in the next life, because you have that, kind of a punya. So that will give the Manushya birth. And then you can also become a Deva if there is a lot of punya, and then you need a deva sharira in order to exhaust that punya. So you can just become Yama, you can become, Indra, so many celestials are there, Prajapati, this one, that one, so many Karma Devatas, all these things. You can be a Deva. You can be Agnihi, you can be Vayu, Devata, all these Devatas you can be. You can go foo and then feel very powerful. Look, I'm a tornado. Look, and and as Anala means fire. One, you can be very proud of yourself. That which you put in the microwave, that microwave, that's me. And that's just me sitting on your food, and that's how I'm cooking it. Like this, you can feel very happy. And then so then what? Then Adi. There is one more Adi Pada. Adi Padat. What is there? What is discussed here? Very interesting. Adi Padat. What else is left? Gandharva Sharira. Gandharva is these musical celestials. They're always in bands. So there are different kinds: Gandharva, Yaksha, Kinnara, etc. These are all musical celestials who are pitch perfect, and who never make a mistake, and then they come up with heavenly music. And so these are all the where were we in the bhashya? Deva manushyadi bhavam va vishati. So they get in the next life these kinds of bodies. The avidwan is eager to enter any body, some body. But why? Because I don't want to be a nobody. That's why I want a body, anybody, somebody. Because I'm tired of being a nobody, and I was a nobody in the last life, and I don't want to be a nobody in this life. So, how do you make sure you're a nobody? Because I need some body or the other. And so, therefore, this is how the avidwan enters into the bodies. Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. See there, vishanti, plural. Here, vishati, bhashyakara, remembers that line, and goes always, he goes with the word that takes you back to the scriptures, the shruti. Only difference is here the Gita, it is plural. Kshine Punye, ninth chapter. Martyalokam Vishanti. Tetam Bhuktva Swargalokam Vishalam. Kshine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti. Having enjoyed the great big world of Swarga, heaven, etc., and when the Punya is exhausted, they come back with a whimper, because that's what a child does when it's born, not with a bang, with a whimper. And then, that is the saga of the avidwan. Let's see what happens to the vidwan. Vidwams too, whereas the vidwan, and who is this vidwan? Shastra acharya upadesha janita jnana deepa prakashitam. Long bird. So, who is this? Born of Janita. Janita means born of the Shastra Pramana, which is because of Acharya Upadesha. So, Jnana Deepa means Jnanameva Deepaha. Tena prakashitam. That which is brought to light by the light of the knowledge of the Shastra, along with the teaching of the Acharya, which is what? I am Sad Brahma. This Atma is Sad Brahma. That which is alone, which is the only thing that there is, which is Kevala, alone, by itself. And then knowing this, one doesn't come back. This is the Sat Sampatti Krama for the Vidwan. Sat Brahmatmanam Pravishya within heavy quotes. There is no Pravesha or entry happening. There is no entry. Okay. Yeah, it's like, nowadays to get on the plane, you have to show vaccine certificate here. I have had my 2 doses. Here it is, my vaccine card. And then they let you get on the plane. And so the Vidwan shows, okay, I have Atma Jnanam here. This duly signed by the Acharya. No such thing. So there is no pravesha happening. There is no entry happening. The entry is as though, because even while the person was endowed with the body, the person was Sad Brahmatma alone. And therefore what? Then this knowing that one is Parabrahma, there is no coming back. So therefore what? Vidwan na avartate sat sampatti anantaram. After gaining the sat, as oneself, there when the body falls, there is no coming back. Why? Because who is there to come back? The knower known difference doesn't exist. When you're talking of the Sad Vastu, it is that which is self evident. There is no Sad Vastu other than yourself. If you know it as an object, then it becomes one more object in the universe. Being objectifiable, it is always Kshana Bhangura, it is time bound, it is dying, it is aging. And so, what kind of a Sat Sampatti is it when it is aging, dying, etc.? So, there is no Satyam possible other than you, which is self evident. If it is self evident, then it does not require to be known as an object. Whereas the world requires to be known as an object. The world exists because it is evident to me. My body exists because it is evident to me. My mind exists because it is evident to me. Eyes exist because they are evident to me. Thinking exists because it is evident to me. Knowledge of any given thing exists because it is evident to me. Memory exists because it is evident to me. Forgetting exists because that too is evident to me. Oh no, I'm forgetting things. Even ignorance exists because it is evident to me. That is why one seeks the Acharya and the Shastra and the Upadesha. And then finally, I exist because I am evident to me. I am evident to myself. That is what is called the self evident, self existent self. And to put it in, sophisticatedly, you can say Swatas Siddha Atma, Swatas Siddha Atma, self evident self. So, the nature of being self evident is not an attribute of the self, it is very much itself. It's not an attribute that comes and goes, it is its own nature. That is what Sat is. No other Sat is available. What is self evident is Satyam, it is Atma, and that Atma Tattvamasi, that is what you are, O Shvetaketu. There is no question of coming back after Sat Sampatti. Not at all. Now there is a small question. This is what is called, Ekadeshi objection. Ekadesha, like a small kind of an objection, which is not thankfully dragged out or stretched out in the form of a full-fledged Purva Paksha. Bhashyakara mentions it in passing and moves on. अन्ये तु
अन्ये तु
मूर्धन्यया
मूर्धन्यया
नाडी उत्क्रम्य
नाडी उत्क्रम्य
आदित्यादिद्वारेण
आदित्यादिद्वारेण
तद्गच्छन्ति इत्याहुः।
सद्गच्छन्ति इत्याहुः।
तत् असत्
तत् असत्
देशकालनिमित्त
देशकालनिमित्त
फल अभिसन्धानेन
फल अभिसन्धानेन
गमनदर्शनात्
गमनदर्शनात्
न हि
न हि
तदात्म
सदात्म
एकत्वदर्शिनः
एकत्वदर्शिनः
सत्याभिसन्धस्य
सत्याभिसन्धस्य
देशकालनिमित्त
देशकालनिमित्त
फल फलादि
फलादि
अनृताभिसन्धिः उपपद्यते।
अनृताभिसन्धिः उपपद्यते
विरोधात्
विरोधात्
अविद्याकाम
अविद्याकाम
कर्मणाञ्च
कर्मणाञ्च
गमननिमित्तानां
गमननिमित्तानां
तद्विज्ञान
सद्विज्ञान
हुताशन
हुताशन
विप्लुष्टत्वात्
विप्लुष्टत्वात्
गमन अनुपपत्तिः एव।
गमन अनुपपत्तिः एव
पर्याप्तकामस्य
पर्याप्तकामस्य
कृतात्मनः
कृतात्मनः
तु
तु
इहैव सर्वे
इहैव सर्वे
प्रविलीयन्ति कामाः
प्रविलीयन्ति कामाः
इति आथर्वणे
इति आथर्वणे
नदीसमुद्र
नदीसमुद्र
दृष्टान्तश्रुतेः च
दृष्टान्तश्रुतेः च
yeah, a small kind of an objection, and it is based, which he sums up and dismisses with a very nice, very good reasoning, very, very worthy of pursuit here. Anyetu, some others. Who are they? Some believers, some kind of what are they called, some devout believers. They have a belief. What is the belief? The belief is that there is some kind of a you perform a certain kind of a meditation, and then what happens as a result? At the time of death, you definitely gain sat. You get crash into sat without having attended a single Vedanta class. No jnana needed, no acharya needed, you know. Acharya, Shmacharya, Vedanta, Shmedanta, we don't need anything. You just do this meditation, I tell you, and then you will just go straight to Sat. How? Well, you just have to make sure that the prana, we saw how all this, so the vak packs up and goes to the mind packs up and goes into prana packs up and goes in this packing up, that which leaves the body, I suppose the prana, when it leaves the body, you please make sure that it leaves through the sahasrara chakra, through the head. Okay, how to make sure the person is barely conscious, not able to speak, let alone plan how to make the prana exit through a certain way. I mean, as though the prana is listened to, like in a crowded theater, there will be a board, exit. You have to go through there. And as though the prana will, you put a board there, exit, and it will go through there. It's not going to go through there. It's going to exit through whichever place it wants to, and there are so many apertures in the body, and then it's going to go wherever it is. And Bhashakara point is going to point out, it's not, this trajectory for the exit of the jiva does not matter. And then, so there is some sushumna nadi, and then it goes through the sahasrara, and that's the ideal way for this soul to leave the body. And then so according to these upasakas, and then the thing is that when it goes through that aperture called the sahasrara, the chakra which is on the top of the head, and then what happens? This is the belief. It's like it's like the vyagrasya gati. Vyagrasya gati means the running of the tiger. When the tiger starts to run, it doesn't stop. This is, I mean, we haven't tested this, but this is how, this is the belief. So two things about the tiger, the folklore is, there is an abiding presence of these two tales about the tiger, and in the second one it is pun and intended, as you will see. So two tales about the tiger, there is an abiding presence in the folklore. And then what is the first one? That when it runs, when it pursues something, even if it misses the target, it keeps running, not terribly bright, I think, and then so then the second thing that is that the nature of the tiger is that it before it gets ready to leap, pounce on the target, it strikes the tail on the ground 3 times. And that's why they say, again, this has not been tested. Okay, this is just kim vadanti, meaning somebody says this. And so some kind of a forest myth, just like we have urban myths. Okay, so so then they say it's very easy to escape from the tiger. Why? How? Well, you just wait till it strikes the ground 3 times, and then you move out of the way, because then it will keep running. That is the idea. Okay. And so too. And why are we bringing in this tiger? Similarly, the jiva, when it leaves through the sahasrara, doesn't come back. That is why the tiger thing is brought here. Okay, yeah. So then, through the murdhanya and the sahasrara, the soul, supposedly, keeps going and going and going, and then what does it do? It reaches what is this called the soul archiradi marga, the solar route. And without getting fried on the solar route, it finally reaches shat. Okay, yeah. So and then yeah, so this is and then Adi Shankara has just one, one, he summarizes what the people say about this, and then he has only one word sentence: tat asat. This is pure poppycock. Yeah, this is just an imagination, a really vivid imagination. And as a belief, okay, maybe it should be respected, but nothing more than that. Please do not get enamored by these kinds of ideas, because there is no place for this in our discussion. Why? And the answer is given in the second line. Deshakala nimitta phalabhisandhanena gamana darshanat. Fifth case. The hetu is always in the fifth case. The karana, the reason for the action or the reason for the statement here is given. The hetu is given and the hetu is in the fifth case. Gamana darshanat. So because why is this asat? Because we are talking about moksha, where there is no gamana, no going, no brahmana, no gamana. And that's why we are keeping on repeating that this Sadvastu is Aitadatmyam Idam Sarvam. There is no reaching Sat. All this time I have been saying this. Now I'm having RSI, repetitive stress injury, keeping the hands like this whole section. Okay, yeah. And then because we don't reach Sat, there is no going, there is no coming. The goer is Sat. And so Sat Sampatti does not depend on time, does not depend on any hetu, nimitta, and is not dependent on space. That by such and such a karma I will go to Sat. I'm already Sat. I need to know. And if I'm already knowing, then there is no reaching. I have already reached, so to speak, the body is dropped. That's all it is. So furthermore, there is you need what he calls very nice expression, and he is foreseeing what is going to come in the Shruti. So he's preparing for this. You need what is called phalabhisandhanam. What is phalabhisandhanam? I need such and such a phalam iti uh, thought, iti vritti. I need this phalam has to be maintained by you in order to keep going and keep doing something, any action. I need this phalam has to be maintained by you. Unless you have the phalam in view, you cannot perform the karma even once, forget throughout the life. So we are not talking of this sadhya vishaya prapti. This is siddha vishaya vastu, as we said earlier. This is not sadhya vishaya. It is the gain of, it is not the gain of something to be accomplished that you do not have. You are talking of the gain of something that is already accomplished and which is denied to you because you do not have the knowledge that it is already accomplished. So the removal of avidya, which is siddha vishaya prapti, that's all it is. It is already there. It's a as though gain of that which is accomplished and needs to be discovered as oneself. So, nahi, not indeed, sadatma ekatva darshinaha, for the person who is sadatma ekatva darshin, for the person who sees Sat and Atma as one. Sat, this Sadvastu is Atma, this kind of a oneness seer, ekatva darshinaha, for this person, Satyabhisandhasya. Abhisandhi means, a certain kind of a self commitment. Satyabhisandhi. So the one who has commitment to Sat, that is the Sadatma Ekatva Darshinah. For the one who understands Sat as Ekam and Advitiyam. This is Sadatma Ekatva. This Sadatma is Ekaha, Tasya Bhavaha Ekatvam, Sadatma Eva Ekaha Vastu Satyam, Tasya Darshinaha. Sadatma Ekatva Darshinaha. So the one who has the vision of oneness of this Sat, which is I, which is Atma. Aham Satyam iti vision, the one who has got for this person, Satyabhisandhasya, for the one who has understood and sees Satyam, you cannot talk to them about going to Satyam through a trajectory of meditation, karma, etc. Because in so doing, what are you doing? You're talking about time, you're talking about place, you're talking about lunar path, solar path, kala, phala, and the so called Sat Sampatti, which is all mithya. The commitment to mithya is called, anrita bhisandhihi, commitment to mithya, which is untenable, because as he mentions virodhat, the two are opposed to each other. One, for one there is no going, no coming, and the one has understood that, and if you make that person go and get sat, they will have no interest at all, and besides that would be totally false, totally false. And so then little more is left in this discussion, and then we'll finish this up next week, and then after that we will be we will be having only two more. What is that? Bhuya eva Bhagavan Vijnapayatu. We are very, very close to completing this. Okay. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. All right.